Welcome to Spirit Speak, exploring the afterlife with Connie and Barry Strohm. Your hosts are here to speak the words of the spirits and answer your questions. Now, here are Connie and Barry.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Spirit Speak, exploring the afterlife. I'm Barry Strohm, your host. Our goal is to try to teach you as much about the afterlife as possible. We have over 490 videos on our YouTube channel. We cover all aspects of the paranormal and the afterlife. And the channel's in my name, Barry Strohm.
And I'm Connie Strohm, your co-host. Today we're going to continue our attempt to understanding archangels by channeling more of the lesser-known angels. Their names are Christiel, Jeremiel, and Muriel. If you've listened to any of our past shows with archangels, you understand that there are many archangels in existence, many more than we ever thought. The ancients that attempted to name the angels had no way of realizing which angelic energy was interacting with them, and since they could not see the angels, they failed to recognize who they were speaking to. Last week, we had a great show, I think. It was entitled Happiness Through Giving, where we interviewed three great philanthropists: Fred Rogers of the Mr. Rogers Neighborhood Children's Show on PBS, Danny Thomas, the founder of the St. Jude's Children's Hospital, and Bob Hope, known for entertaining the military and charitable giving. If you missed the show, it's on the Voice America Archives and our YouTube channel.
Okay, I want to spend as much time with the angels as we can today. So, Connie, let's begin with the Archangel Christiel.
Christiel, thank you for joining us today. Would you please tell us about your role in God's kingdom?
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I have actually quite a few roles over here in God's kingdom, as we all do. Keep in mind that archangels generally have a specific area where they specialize, but they do many other things as well. We assist the other archangels. We do as many things as we can. My role is trying to bring peace and comfort to as many individuals. There are so many people out there today that are troubled. There's so many people having trouble paying their bills, raise their family. The only way that an individual can truly find personal peace is following the words of God, having faith, and believing in Him. After all, that's what we all are, is we're servants of God.
How does your role differ from the other archangels?
In many ways, it doesn't. There are many angels that are available to help you. There are obviously some of the very well-known ones, Gabriel, Raphael, Michael. But we are all here. We are all available. I try, if I see a person that is especially troubled, then I will assist to help. Sometimes there are individuals that are familiar with the different names of angels, and some do call on me, but not many. As you said, the ancients had problems identifying us. They didn't understand who they were speaking with, and they didn't understand the roles of what an angel could actually do. They felt that they were of God. They had no doubts about that. But once you went past that one single fact, then everything kind of entered a great unknown for them.
We've read that you help bring personal peace to individuals. How do you go about accomplishing this role?
I can try to do it in many ways. Often I just simply try to come to them in their dreams. They may not even know I'm there, but I will try to bring them information that will help sort out their problems. If an individual does not believe in God, we will try to come to them and convince them that maybe they should change their path. You see, angels also help atheists. They try to convert them. They help agnostics. They try to get them over that edge of true faith. So we do many, many things. Angels do more than I can ever mention. We can interact in so many different ways. It may be that an individual is headed for a bad time, and we can bring other individuals, humans, in to interact with them. It may be that we can appear to them. Sometimes we appear in human form. It is it's very rare that we appear to a human in angelic form. We try to do anything we can to help.
Do you only interact with higher spiritual beings?
Sadly, higher spiritual beings have more understanding and faith than those with lower spirituality. That is just simply common sense. The higher a spiritual being, the better adapted their soul is to contacting us, to understanding our existence, to listening to us, and to doing many, many of the things that can help themselves. So the odds of a higher spiritual being having heard of me and call on me is much better. Higher spiritual beings also have what we refer to as a higher vibration. The higher the internal vibration of an individual, the easier it is to interact with us. So it does turn out that much of my interaction is with higher spiritual beings, but it is only because it makes it easier for them to communicate with me.
Why have most of us not heard about you? You do wonderful things.
Simply because the ancients did not identify me. They would be speaking with me, and they thought that perhaps they were speaking with Gabriel or Michael or any of the others. You see, one thing that an angel does not have is an ego. We're not in competition. We're trying to do our best to serve God. So if I was assisting a human being in a meditation and we were having a communication and they called me by another name, I would not correct them. Keep in mind, on other planets, we all have different names. Names are essentially irrelevant. Names are just simply a way of referring to our different energies, but they are so inaccurate in the case of angels. It's very difficult to name something that you cannot see.
Have you acted to guide the ancients?
Of course. We guided humans since their inception. How else would they have learned? There's actually no way that humans can advance without accepting information from their guides, from their angels. We were around much longer than humans, like billions of years longer. So yes, we obviously did help the ancients, just the same as we're doing our best to help the modern human souls.
Do you interact more with individuals on other planets than you do on Earth, since we're not as advanced as they are?
Yes, I do indeed spend more time on other planets than I do on Earth. And the reason is they've all successfully decided to coexist, understand God's words, and they make it easier for us. They're all of a higher vibration because they've been around for millions of years, where humans have only been around for a couple 100,000. So yes, we do spend a lot of time on the other planets, and communication is much easier.
As humans advance in their knowledge, will you be spending more time in interacting with humans?
Quite possibly. It is conceivable that as humans advance, they can accept the words of God and they do not need the help that they need now. If a human understands faith, accepts coexistence, understands the equality of all souls, then they will not need the guidance. Humans right now need as much guidance as they can get. They're a violent culture. Many do not believe in God, but as they advance and things change, then the needs for some specific informations will not be around anymore.
Do humans have to ask for you specifically for you to interact with them?
No, I will be watching. And It may be that another angel will tell me that I should interact with this person. So they don't have to ask for me. If you do specifically ask for me, I will indeed be there.
Is there a reason your given name starts with Christ?
I am very close to God, but then all angels are. When humans finally decided that I did truly exist, they felt that I had special energies. They thought that I was the light of God. I did nothing unusual. I interacted the same as other angels, work with them, and I have the same gifts. All that I do is only possible because God wants it done. So they felt that perhaps I had this close similarity with Christ. So they named me Christiel. But as I tell you, I have many, many names on other planets.
Do you have the ability to direct the energies or the light of God?
When so instructed. There are many things that God wants us to do, and He gives us the energies to do it. He will instruct us that an individual is special, that they need to be helped, they need to be protected, that they need to be guided, and He will give us the energies to do that. He may want us to possibly alter a life plan. An individual may be doing far more than we conceived of him doing. He may be helping many, many other individuals. And it may be that he wants that individual to live for many, many more years than was in his original plan because of the great good that he's doing. In that case, he can direct us with certain energies, and we can help follow out his commands and his wishes.
So then do you help humans achieve a high level of spirituality?
I try. If they follow my directions, they will indeed advance. Keep in mind that all a human has to do to increase its vibrations or to advance is to follow the words of God and to help others, to show love, to control anger, to control hatred. It's not hard to increase your vibrational levels. And then if you follow my instructions and do what is asked of you by God, then you will indeed receive a higher level of spirituality. If you ignore our messages, then the opposite will be true.
Do you believe spirituality is increasing or decreasing throughout our world?
There have been times in the past where spirituality ebbs and spirituality flows. It's a difficult question. Today, there are definitely many, many people with great spirituality. There are many people doing great good, but there are many people that are doing great bad. I would say the spirituality is probably the same as it was for the last several thousand years. There was a surge in spirituality after Jesus walked the earth, but as his words were altered, then some of the spiritualities were altered as well.
Christiel, thank you so much for being with us today. Do you have a final message?
Yes. First of all, I would like to thank you for doing this work with archangels. Archangels are very, very important to the survival of humanity. Archangels have been around since the beginning of time. Archangels are a very, very unique energy. Archangels, they come to you when you least expect it. We may come to you in a form other than what you're expecting. We may come to you as a homeless person, as someone that looks in need of help. We may come to you as simply as a person who'll have a conversation to try to help you in a time of need. You see, you never really, really know how we are going to come to you. But you can rest assured that we will absolutely come to you in your time of need. Today, humans are suffering great times of need. But there have been times through history that they have suffered as well. Keep in mind that each time you see humans reaching a low point in history, then God steps in and things happen. When he chose to walk the earth, humans had given up believing in a single deity. He and his servants came forward, and his words changed billions of lives for thousands of years. The Dark Ages, the Renaissance period, comes, and all of a sudden people become more enlightened. God sent people of great intellect back to guide them. He realized that it was a time that truly guidance was needed, so he did what was necessary. Today you're facing many people that have great spirituality as well. Quite often people ignore them, as they have through the ages, but more and more people are paying attention. Over here we feel that there is hope for humanity. God is not going to give up on humans. He wants them to be able to exist. He wants them to be able to advance. He wants them to know that heaven is the true goal. He wants everyone to understand that living a good life will help them advance in the realms. Living a good life will help them increase their vibrational or spiritual level as they're walking their lives as a human. He will help them learn the lessons that need to be learned. Individuals that turn their back on God obviously do not get the guidance or the help. There are many, many things that God does for you every day. The simple fact that you exist is a miracle of God. That fact goes over many people's heads, and it's very, very sad. We try to do our best to bring the will of God and the understanding of God to humans, in spite of the fact that they often use their free will to ignore us, to turn their back on us, and to do what they want. Many people have the blessing of great wealth, and many people turn their back on those that need help. Those individuals will learn of the error they made, and they'll get a chance to redo it in future lives. Angels are always here. We are always willing to help. We are always here to help bless humans and to guide them on their way. So thank you very much for allowing me to speak today. I appreciate it. Maybe in the future somebody will remember my name. So goodbye, and may God bless all of you.
Thank you.
Okay, great message, great questions. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to channel with the Archangel Jeremiel.
Connie and Barry will be back after a few words from our sponsors.
Follow Voice America at facebook.com/Voice America for juicy updates from your favorite radio shows and podcasts.
Is death the end of the journey of the soul, or a time of new beginnings? Is there proof of an afterlife? What would historic figures say if they lived today? Psychic and channeler Barry Strohm uses his gift of spirit communication to answer these questions and explore all aspects of the hereafter. Have all the information necessary not to fear life's final journey. Tune in to Spirit Speak, Exploring the Afterlife with Connie and Barry Strohm, Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific Time on the Voice America Variety Channel.
Voice America programs are now available on your favorite connected device, including Amazon, Alexa, and Google Home. Through streams with Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, and iHeartRadio, listening to your favorite show is as easy as saying the show name followed by the word podcast.
Hey, Alexa, play Finding Your Frequency podcast.
If that doesn't work, try adding on TuneIn or on iHeartRadio or on Apple Podcasts.
Psychic and author Barry Strohm has now published 9 books dealing with supernatural subject from ghosts to aliens. His most recent books, Messages of God and Messages of the Prophet Muhammad for a Modern World, bring you the channeled messages of the founders of Christianity and Islam. Their words are intended to guide their followers through these modern times. These books are available in softcover and ebook on Amazon.com. Signed copies of all of Strohm's books are available on his website, www.barrystrom.com.
The Internet's #1 talk station. #1 talk station. VoiceAmerica.com.
Welcome back to Spirit Speak, Exploring the Afterlife. Here are your hosts, Connie and Barry Strohm.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, and thank you for listening. We hope that you tell your friends about our show. Where else can you hear a chat with 3 different archangels? So anyway, we're going to continue. We have another angel that you may not have heard of, but has been very active and serves our Lord in many ways. His name is Jeremiel. And, Connie, we've got questions for him.
Welcome, Jeremiel. Would you please tell us about your role in God's kingdom?
I try to lead people back to the path of God. Through the ages, many people have turned their back on him. Many people believe in self much more than they believe in an eternal energy. Many people do things that are not in the manner or way of God. You see, free will and evil are a terrible, terrible combination for humans. You couple that with greed, you couple that with egos, and many bad things happen. It takes a very, very strong person to have the wealth, to gain the funds, the money, to gain all the things that they need to bring them what they conceive of as all the greatest wealth and personal happiness that they can obtain. But you see, that often leads down another terrible path. If you do not have God in your heart, you're not going to know true happiness. You're not asking for guidance. And often those great funds bring great unhappiness to the individuals and to their families. I try to bring people back to God. I try. Quite often I fail. But that is my role.
So that's how you differ from the other archangels, trying to bring people back to God.
I do, but I also overlap with them and try to help them as well. They may be working with an individual that they see good in their heart, but has made very bad decisions. I will try to come to them, and I will try to give them guidance, and I will try to bring them back to their life plans, and I will try to bring them back to having faith in serving God.
We're told that your name means God's mercy. How does that apply to your role on earth?
God wants to welcome anyone back into his world. He does not hold things against individuals. An individual will be judged for what they do. But if they believe in God, if they return to his understandings and his words and his teachings, then what they do will help offset the bad things that they've done in their lives. You see, God has infinite mercy. If you truly believe in your heart in his existence, if you truly believe that what you have done is wrong and You're not going to repeat those problems. And if you ask for his love, then he will give it to you. My role is to help bring people to the point that they understand this and that they return to his words.
Do you assist in the planning of life plans for humans?
No, life plans are generally a role that is followed by the spirit guides. Life plans usually are made by the individual. You see, each individual has to learn lessons, and only his guides know that. We interact with multitudes of souls. Each individual carries that book of life with him so we can access the information and help guide them. But we generally do not help in preparing their plans.
Do you help individuals interpret their dreams and visions?
We do, because this is the easiest way for us to communicate with a human. Most humans do not have the ability to speak the words or to hear the words such as we're doing today. The gift of being able to speak our words is truly a great gift of God, and it's very rare. Dreams can be very complicated for humans to understand. We will help come to them and try to simplify their dreams and their visions and help them to assure that they are following their faith and that they're doing what is necessary.
Is your role the same on other planets as it is here on Earth?
No. On other planets, most of the people are more advanced, and they've learned the lesson to follow the words of God. So they're not as inclined to make the mistakes. Now there are other young planets. There are other life forms that are quite violent and that are still learning the early lessons of God. You see, there's always going to be young planets because God needs to send souls back to those planets so that they can learn the lessons. If your soul was sent to a planet that is truly following in his words, then you will not be faced with the challenges that you need to be faced and answered properly. When you answer properly, you advance in the realms of his heaven. So my role does change on other planets, and I spend much more time on young planets than I do on planets that have advanced.
Do you ever assist the soul at the time of passing?
It is possible that Azrael may come to me and that he may ask me to assist him with a certain soul. Sometimes, as individuals attempt their time of or approach a time of passing, they start to thoroughly realize the mistakes that they've made in the past. And they try to seek forgiveness. They try to change their lives. Keep in mind that you are judged on the entirety of your soul. What you do at the end of your life, you can make changes. If you have great wealth, you can set up funds that will continue to do good for people, even though you have not done that in the past. You may leave your wealth to charities that will help others. All of this helps, but you will be judged. The lessons that you were sent back to learn have not been learned, and you will have to repeat them. But you can mitigate the karma that you create. It's never too late, and there are times that I can work with Azrael and the other angels that help at passing. But generally, it does not happen.
Do you ever assist the guides in judging the soul at the time of passing?
I may speak to the guides. Keep in mind that your guides know everything about your life. So there is very, very little that can be done. You have the free will that makes your own decisions. I may speak to the guides and give them an opinion. For instance, a soul may be working with another soul that I am working with. If I think that there is a possibility that I can help with an individual's soul's future karma, I may make suggestions to the guides for a future lifetime. I may make suggestions to that soul on the other side. You see, when your soul's on the other side, there's no problem communicating with us. We're around you all the time, and there is no problem in understanding. So it's much easier for us to influence a soul when it is in heaven than when it is on Earth or on another one of the early planets.
Hey, Jeremiel, your name is mentioned in several of the ancient writings. What role did you play with the ancients that lived in pre-Christian times?
Pre-Christian times were much longer than the time since Christ walked the earth. In pre-Christian times, individuals would worship idols. They would worship other gods. They would worship many things that they never understood. Ancient man had many, many problems with the concept of angelic energies or the energies of God. There were certain individuals that were sent back that were messengers of God, and they would give them messages. But there was this massive misunderstanding. God never comes to you with a direct order. He will send angels or his other servants to you with suggestions. It is always up to the human to make their own decision. The ancients started to understand the concept of the existence of a living God. Once that started to take place, we could be more effective in attempting to help them. There were many cultures that still did not accept the fact that we existed. But we offered great guidance to those that lived before Christ walked the earth. It was very necessary that we prepared the earth for his arrival. It happened hundreds and hundreds of years. The process began. I would come to them and I would just simply try to lead them into doing what was right. I would try to lead them not to steal, not to kill others. I would try to lay a foundation because I knew what was to come.
Do you interact with the thoughts and emotions of humans?
Yes, I interact quite often with them. That is my best way to try to lead them. Sometimes appearing in form and having a conversation with them helps. But quite often humans even overlook that. They say, that cannot possibly be. Humans have these great egos, and these great egos will try to mislead them. It is very, very difficult sometimes to lead humans.
Did your role with humans change after the life of Christ?
Yes, it became easier because now Jesus spoke the words that needed to be spoken. So it was much easier after he walked the earth.
Thank you so much for being part of our show this morning. Do you have a final message for us?
Yes. I want you to know that there is absolutely no doubt that we exist. Many people will tell you we don't exist. You see, if you followed the certain simple message words that Jesus spoke, Words such as do not do anything to anyone else that you do not want done to you. If you followed those simple messages, then my role would be diminished. You see, you'd have no need to ask for mercy or forgiveness. God also gave you a conscience, and as you approach your time of passing, you're going to think to yourself, maybe there is something else to life. You see, an atheist just thinks everything ends. That's a terrible, terrible fear. Because as you approach your time of passing, what else is there? An individual with a great faith in God knows that there is so much more. We tell human spirits that actually their day of passing will be the greatest day of their life because they enter this incredible dimension of heaven. As you rise in this incredible dimension in the realms, what you can do is almost unlimited. What you can do is beyond any human description or belief. But you see, forgiveness is a key. You want God to forgive you, but do you forgive others? Ask yourself that question. It may be that an individual has harmed you in some minor way, and you decide that there's no way that I am ever going to speak to this person or forgive them. You see, lack of forgiveness is something that will lead you down the wrong path. Do not ask forgiveness or for forgiveness if you are incapable of forgiving. Human nature is very complicated. Human nature can be one of the most difficult things to interpret. We work with it from this side every day, so we understand the difficulties. Humans are a very, very unique species. God wanted it that way. He wanted a platform that souls could return to and learn lessons, very valuable lessons. Mercy and forgiveness are among some of the most valuable lessons that an individual can ever learn. It is very simple. Follow common sense in your life. Do what is right. Love one another. Coexist. And understand that life goes on. Your day will come to pass from this earth and enter the dimensions of heaven. Of that, there's no doubt. So thank you very much for allowing me to speak today. I too appreciate the opportunity. Ask for me directly. I will try to help you find forgiveness if you feel you need it. But you must take the first step and show the faith in God. So goodbye, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, another time. We're going to take a break. Back in 2 minutes.
Connie and Barry will be back after a few words from our sponsors.
A little birdie told me Voice America is on Twitter. Follow us at Voice America TRN.
Psychic and author Barry Strohm has now published 9 books dealing with supernatural subjects from ghosts to aliens. His most recent books, Messages of God and Messages of the Prophet Muhammad for a Modern World, bring you the channeled messages of the founders of Christianity and Islam. Their words are intended to guide their followers through these modern times. These books are available in softcover and ebook on Amazon.com. Signed copies of all of Strom's books are available on his website, www.barrystrom.com.
Voice America is on LinkedIn. Connect with us today.
Is death the end of the journey of the soul or a time of new beginnings? Is there proof of an afterlife? What would historic figures say if they lived today? Psychic and channeler Barry Strohm uses his gift of spirit communication to answer these questions and explore all aspects of the hereafter. Have all the information necessary not to fear life's final journey. Tune in to Spirit Speak, Exploring the Afterlife with Connie and Barry Strohm. Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific Time on the Voice America Variety Channel.
Streaming live, the leader in Internet talk radio, voiceamerica.com.
Welcome back to Spirit Speak, Exploring the Afterlife. Have a question for Barry or their guests? Join us on the show at 866-472-5788. That's 866-472-5788. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back, everybody, and thank you for listening. I hope you tell your friends about us. You got to admit, we have a very unique show. We're now going to channel with the Archangel Muriel. Connie?
Muriel, thank you for joining us this morning. Would you please tell us about your role in God's kingdom?
As you have probably learned at this point, many of our roles over here overlap. If a human asks for help, there's absolutely no way that he is not going to receive it. I try to work with individuals with emotional problems. That could be 100% of humans. Many humans have emotional problems and don't understand it. Many think that huge egos are normal. Many think that harming others is normal. Those are all emotional problems. If an individual is suffering from a Great Depression, I will try to help them out of that depression. I will try to do things that will guide them back to their normal path. Sometimes suffering is part of a life plan, a lesson that must be learned, and suffering affects the emotions of the individual. I will try to step in and show that individual to be strong, to use that suffering as a lesson for others, not to digress to the point that you're showing that you become depressed, that you can't help others, that you can't be an example. Suffering is very difficult for humans. They need all the help they can get.
How does your role differ from the other archangels?
In many ways, it doesn't, as my friends have all explained to you. But I will step into for an individual that is suffering and is developing emotional problems. I often have a very difficult task. When an individual is in pain, it's very difficult not to let their emotions become involved. But that suffering can do great harm to the soul of that individual.
We're told that Muriel means perfume of God. Can you explain that for us, please?
That is something that the ancients came up with. The ancients believed greatly in fragrances. They used perfumes, the fragrance of flowers, the fresh air. Many of these things can help lead to emotional stability. It is possible that fragrances can help cure. Sometimes when I'm trying to affect the emotions of individuals, I will put them in situations where they actually can smell fragrances that are conducive to bringing stability to them. I might introduce them to situations or fragrances where they can find guidance from them. So when I did that for the ancients, I believe that it stuck, and I became known under that terminology.
I'm glad to be informed about that. It's great. Do you work closely with any other archangels?
I work with my two friends that are here with me quite often. I know that all archangels are very, very busy. I know that they all have incredibly important messages. And sometimes I will work with them to help bring them more emotional stability. Guidance. We all bring guidance to humans, and that is probably the area where we overlap the most.
Okay. Intuition can often be the result of spirit guides trying to lead a human. Can you help an individual develop intuition?
Yes, I can do this. It's one of the energies that I have developed. Intuition is often a reaction to information given to you by angels and guides. You need to learn which intuition is the proper one. Sometimes it's just a feeling in your stomach. Sometimes it's a message in your head that you should do this. But many individuals simply make bad decisions. If I can help an individual to follow the guidance of their guides, then I can do a great service to them.
Do you play any role in leading humans to help those in need?
Absolutely. When you see a homeless person on the street, in your mind you may say, is this real? Is this not real? Should I help him? Should I not help him? I would try to lead you to helping that individual. I often do as much as I can. If you follow the intuition of your angels and guides, you will be a much happier person.
Yes. What would you tell anyone that does not help others?
I would tell them that they are definitely going against the will of God. God wants you to help others. He wants you to show love towards others, and he wants you to do what is necessary for you to rise in the realms of heaven. And to do that, you have to help others. There's just simply no way. If you become a hermit and do nothing to help others, then you are not following God's words.
Yeah, Muriel, did you play any role in helping Barry develop his gifts? Because this is not the Barry that I thought I would end up with on the day I walked down the aisle to marry him.
Barry is given a very unique gift by God. He's been sent back by God to serve him. And as you know, it took several years and work to develop his skills to the point that he can do this today. Roz played an important role, and I worked with him. I needed, first of all, to have him understand what he was supposed to be doing in life. And to do that, intuition was very important.
Yes. As an empath, Barry does feel the emotions of others. Do you help with empaths?
Yes, I do. Sometimes empaths, through their feeling of others' emotions, can be very helpful to those individuals. If an individual feels the emotion of another, then he knows what that individual is going through and is more inclined to be able to help him.
Okay. How can a human develop compassion for others?
It can be very difficult if a person is enveloped by evil and greed. If a human only worries about himself, if he's selfish, self-centered, then it's very difficult for that individual to develop compassion. We will try to lead them down a path where they understand this. Perhaps we'll have them visit a country where there is a great amount of poor people. Sometimes we will lead them into situations where they will help develop that compassion for others. But it can be very, very difficult. If the individual does not follow our suggestions and intuition, then it is indeed a very, very difficult situation for them.
Okay, Muriel, we've been very honored to have you and your friends with us today. Do you have a final message for our listeners?
Yes, we do. I'm very happy that you have allowed the three of us to come through today. Individuals have got to understand the immense number of angels that are around them. They have to understand that God has provided an incredible amount of opportunity for guidance. They have to learn to use the intuition that they have. They have to be able to be one with God. They need to use common sense. You see, all that we do is we try to get people to use common sense in their lives, to understand that they are one with everyone else, and that they need to share a love for everyone. Once they do that, their life becomes much happier. They understand that there truly is a God, and they understand that their pathway to heaven is secured, and that the pathway, once they enter heaven, will allow them to rise in the realms of heaven and to experience all the true grandeur that is available to them. God has provided all the help that any individual would ever need. He's provided spirit guides, angels. He allows the souls of family members to help join them and to guide them. He has done many, many things. What is required is for the human to react and to understand all the things that God has done. We do overlap in our abilities. We have no one role. We do as much as we can for God. When God asks us to intercede with an individual, we do all we can, but it is always the free will that can defeat what we're trying to accomplish. Evil is everywhere and has to be defeated. By listening and following our advice, that is the only way that evil can truly be kept in abeyance and that humans can advance into the future. So thank you very much for allowing me to come through. And if you want us to return, we will certainly do it.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Great segments today. Next week, we're going to explore the concept of life plans and the act of dying. We'll channel with spirit guides to prepare life plans, and we'll speak once again with Archangel Azrael, the angel who assists at time of passing. It will be a very, very educational show for everyone. I currently have 9 books on Amazon. My latest, Messages of Muhammad for a Modern World, consists of messages of the Prophet. It's available in softcover, ebook. Signed copies are available on my website. I'm currently preparing my 10th book, and it's going to be Messages of the Archangels. It soon will be available, and I sincerely hope that all of you will take time to buy it.
I'd like to thank all of you for joining us on Voice America Radio Network today. Please give us a thumbs up and tell your friends about our show. If you'd like to see more of our channelings, as we said, we have 470 videos covering all different aspects of the afterlife on our YouTube channel, which is in the name of Barry Strohm. Have a wonderful week.
Connie and I try to do the best we can for everybody that listens to us. We want everyone to understand that your time of passing is not something to be feared. We want you to know that God truly exists, that he provides guides, he provides angels, that he does everything that he can do to make life easier for humans. All you have to do is open your heart, pay attention and listen, and look at what's around you. So join us each Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time on the Voice America Variety Network.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Spirit Speak, Exploring the Afterlife with Connie and Barry Strohm. Tune in next week for another informative and inspiring episode on the Voice America Variety Channel at 9 a.m. Pacific Time.